Hi there, this is Ryan, and what I'm going to do right now is to discuss with you the emotional intelligence is part of the module for personal development. Okay, so allow me to discuss this with you based on the module created by the writers of the Department of Education. So, why do you think this emotional intelligence is important? Let's find out in this module. Specifically, this personal development module is intended for grades 11 and 12 students of the senior high school program. There's a big question that says, how can you manage your emotions? It's a very basic question, but it is very hard to comprehend if you didn't know how to make use of your emotions. Our objective in this module is at the end of this module, you will be able to discuss and understanding the intensity and differentiation of your emotions may help in communicating emotional expressions. Explore your positive and negative emotions and how you express or hide them, and demonstrate and create ways to manage various emotions. Really, there's more than one kind of intelligence. You may have heard people mention IQ when talking about intellect and how smart someone is. For example, my brother doesn't need to study as much as I do because he has a really high IQ. IQ stands for intellectual quotient. It can help predict how well someone may do academically. IQ is just one measure of our abilities, though. There are many other kinds of intelligence in addition to intellect. For example, spatial intelligence. This is the ability to think in 3D. Musical intelligence is the ability to recognize rhythm, cadence, and tone. Athletic, artistic, and mechanical abilities are other types of intelligence. One important type of intelligence is emotional intelligence. So, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage our emotions. Emotional intelligence is sometimes called EQ or EI for short. Just as a high IQ can predict top test scores, a high EQ can predict success in social and emotional situations. EQ helps us build strong relationships, make good decisions, and deal with difficult situations. One way to think about EQ is that it's part of being people smart. Understanding and getting along with people helps us be successful in almost any area of life. In fact, some studies show that EQ is more important than IQ when it becomes or doing well in school or being successful at work. Improving your EQ or emotional intelligence is a combination of several different skills. Number one, being aware of your emotions. Most people feel many different situations throughout the day. Some feelings like being surprised last just a few seconds. Others may stay longer, creating a mood like happiness or sadness. Being able to notice and accurately label these everyday feelings is the most basic of all the EQ skills. Being aware of emotions, simply noticing them as we feel them, helps us manage our own emotions. It also helps us understand how other people feel. But some people might go through the entire day without really noticing their emotions, isn't it? Practice recognizing emotions as you feel them. Label them in your mind, for example, by saying to yourself, I feel grateful. Or you could say, I feel frustrated, etc. Make it a daily habit to be aware of your emotions. I feel good. I am so grateful today. Number two, understanding how others feel and why. People are naturally designed to try to understand others. Part of EQ is being able to imagine how other people might feel in certain situations. It is also about understanding why they feel the way they do. Being able to imagine what emotions a person is likely to be feeling, even when you don't actually know, is called empathy. Empathy helps us care about others and build good relationships or friendship. It guides us in what to say and how to behave around someone who is feeling strong emotions. I feel you. I understand where you're coming from. Those are example statements for empathy. Or I could say, I understand where you are coming from. Or specifically, you could say, I understand how it feels that a dog, I mean, I understand how it feels if you lost someone or a lost, or if you lost a dog as your favorite pet. And I have experienced that before, so I know how it feels. Something like that. Number three, managing emotional reactions. Well, we all agree. We all have disappointments, isn't it? Often than not, it's important to express how you feel. But managing your reaction means knowing when, where, and how to express yourself. When you understand your emotion and know how to manage them, you can use self control to hold a reaction if now is the right time or place to express it. Someone who has good EQ knows it can damage relationship to react to emotions in a way that's disrespectful, too intense, too impulsive, or harmful. Choosing your mood. Part of managing emotion is choosing our moods. Moods are emotional states that last a bit. We have the power to decide what mood is right for a situation, and then to get into that mood. Choosing the right mood can help someone get motivated, concentrate on a task, or try again instead of giving up. People with good EQ knows what moods are not just things that happen to us. We can control them by knowing which mood is best for a particular situation and how to get into that mood. Next, EQ is under construction. Emotional intelligence is something that develops as we get older. If it didn't, all adults would act like little kids, expressing their emotions physically through stomping, crying, hitting, yelling, and losing control. Some of the skills that make up emotional intelligence develop earlier. They may seem easier. For example, recognizing emotions seems easy once we know that what to pay attention to. But the EQ skill of managing emotional reaction and choosing a mood might seem harder to master. That's because the part of the brain that's responsible for self management continues to mature beyond our teen years. But practice helps those brain pathways develop. We can all work to build even stronger emotional intelligence skills just by recognizing what we feel, understanding how we get there, understanding how others feel and why, and putting our emotions into heartfelt words when we need to. I have it here a reading selection about the types of responses. Passive response is behaving passively means not expressing your own needs and feelings or expressing them so weakly that they will not be addressed. If Geneva behaves passively by standing in line and not saying anything, she'll probably feel angry with the girls and herself. If the ticket office runs out of tickets before she gets to the head of the line, she'll be furious and might blow up at the girls after it's too late to change the situation. A passive response is not usually in your best interest because it allows other people to violate your rights. Yet there are times when being passive is the most appropriate response. It is important to assess whether a situation is dangerous and choose the response most likely to keep you safe. Aggressive response. Behaving aggressively is asking what you want or saying how you feel in a threatening, sarcastic, or humiliating way that may offend the other person. If Geneva calls the girls names or threatens them, she may feel strong for a moment, but there is no me, she'll get the girls to leave. More importantly, the girls and your friend may also respond aggressively through a verbal or physical attack on Geneva. An aggressive response is never at your best interest because it almost always leads to increased conflict. Assertive response. Behaving assertively means asking for what you want or saying how you feel in an honest and respectful way. It does not infringe or another person's rights or put the individual down. If Geneva tells the girls they need to go to the end of the line because other people have been waiting, She will not put the girls down but merely state the facts of the situation. She can feel proud for standing up for her rights. At the same time, she'll probably be supported in her by other people in the line. While there is a good chance the girls will feel embarrassed and move, there's always a chance that they will ignore Geneva and her needs will not be met. An assertive response is almost always in your best interest, since it is your best chance of getting what you want without offending the other person. At times, however, being assertive can be inappropriate. If tempers are high, if people have been using alcohol or other drugs, if people have weapons, or if you are in a safe place, being assertive may not be the safest choice. Am I assertive? Assertiveness is the ability to express your wishes and beliefs in a positive way. Too little assertiveness can make you a doormat. Too much, and you can be bossy and aggressive. So, for me, the learning I have in this module is that we need to know how to use or manage our emotion in a specific time, place, person, or event. It means that we should understand our emotion at first, recognizing what we feel that day, and we need to find strategies on how to escape from a bad situation that would harm yourself and others as well. And as we grow older, it's correct that as we mature, we will be able to understand how people behave and how people act. So we have the tendency to be assertive instead of being aggressive or passive. And I believe sometimes you need to walk away from difficult people instead of having a conflict with them, because it will increase the conflict and will trigger the stress that you feel. So I hope that you also learn from the lesson that we have, the emotional intelligence, because it is very important aspect of our life, because it could affect in the many of the areas of our life as what mentioned in this module. Thank you everyone, and God bless.